Hello, I'm Nancy Durrant. I'm the Evening Standard Arts Editor, and this is Cultural Capital, the show where we pick out our favourite things from London's amazing arts and culture. This week, we're joining the team trying to reboot the rusty laptop at the South-facing festival in Crystal Palace. You'll find out what that means shortly. The West End's new Christine takes us behind the scenes as the Phantom of the Opera reopens at Her Majesty's Theatre. We're sitting down with Charles Dickens for Thing of the Week, and I'll be telling you about the most bonkers film I've seen all year, which was born out of a viral thread on Twitter. But firstly, in 1961, the Crystal Palace Concert Bowl opened with a performance from the London Symphony Orchestra. In the 70s and 80s, it saw gigs from the likes of Elton John, the Beach Boys, Roxy Music, Lou Reed, Gil Scott-Heron, Dame Vera Lynn, and it hosted the biggest UK gig for one, Bob Marley. For the last decade, the venue has lain dormant, but now it's being revitalised by the first ever South-facing festival. We jumped on the overground to Crystal Palace to meet the team.
We've got the 60th anniversary of an extraordinary space in the historic Crystal Palace Park. It's been dormant, it's been redundant for a couple of decades. South-facing have come, and with the Crystal Palace Park Trust, they've reinvigorated and revived this extraordinary space. In the past, we've had the likes of Pink Floyd, Bob Marley, the Beach Boys, Lou Reed. They've all performed to crowds in this beautiful, beautiful amphitheatre. So first of all, I should explain the rusty laptop is this amazing sculptural stage that you can see in the background here. That was built in the mid-90s. It was nominated for a Sterling Prize. The architect Ian Ritchie was inspired by the likes of Richard Serra, and now we're rebooting and reviving that stage to make it fit for a new generation. So we're so excited that South-facing is coming in 2021. Not only is the live music industry coming back after a terrible 18 months, this venue is coming back after probably a couple of decades of being dormant and unused. We've got an incredibly diverse and eclectic range of acts over the next month, which reflects very much the history of Crystal Palace and all the diversity of acts that they used to have back in the day.
Well, it's a series of 12 concerts. We're here for a month, and it's 12 commercial events with bands like Streets, Sleaford Mods, English National Opera, Max Richter, and Koji Radical, and others.
I think there's been music and entertainment in Crystal Palace right from the beginning. You know, when the exhibition centre was built and the park was created, when it was full of gardens and fountains and things to distract and entertain and educate, like the dinosaurs. It's always been more than just a municipal park. It's been like a theme park right back to the Victorian era. So it's an amazing place for people not just to come and enjoy the green space and the relaxation and the exercise, but also it is a space for entertainment.
I want to say a particular huge thanks to all of the people that contribute over the last few months to the crowdfunder that we ran to help back the bowl and kickstart the revival of the space. So we raised a huge amount of money. The Mayor of London chipped in and contributed. So in the autumn, you'll start to see even more restoration work starting when the festival's finished.
South-facing Festival kicks off tonight and runs every weekend for the rest of August. Now, there are few things more recognisable in musical theatre than the Mask of the Phantom. Until COVID cruelly shut it down, the show was one of the longest running in the West End, second only to Les Mis, which opened a year earlier. Now, theatre's most lovelorn ghost is back, and his new Christine agreed to take us backstage to his lair.
The Phantom of the Opera is legacy. It is the heartbeat of the West End. It has been the foundation of theatre for so many years, and I am so fortunate to be a part of its 35th year, which is this October, and it's going to be electric. It's going to be so amazing to be a part of, and it brings people together. It feels like it is a show that is part of our West End, and it will always be a part of our West End. And I think opening on Tuesday kind of felt like we're kind of back a little bit, because if this show can sustain the test of time, then we've got hope for everything else, you know? This role has been a dream of mine for so many years, and I never thought possible, really. And I look at the costumes here in my dressing room, and it finally dawned on me on Tuesday when I took my bow that it was real. It is such an honour to play this role and to be in this position right now, especially after the 18 months we've had being starved of not being able to perform to our audiences, to now be on stage. We opened on Tuesday and it was electric. It was the most magical night of my life, and to step into this role, especially being the first black woman to play this role in the West End or Broadway, is something that means so much to me, and I know means so much to other women of colour. I've been, told for many years that this would never be a possibility. So one, that was one that I had to overcome, and especially never seeing myself in this role. That was another one I had to overcome mentally, physically preparing for the role and not giving up on it. And vocally training really, really hard, but mentally preparing for the journey, because it's not been an easy ride to get to this point, and that's why now in this moment I can really celebrate how amazing it is to be in this position and to hopefully shed hope and light and inspiration to people, especially women of colour, to you can be in this position too. Never ever give up.
Phantom of the Opera is at Her Majesty's Theatre, booking to February 2022. Now it's Thing of the Week.
This is Charles Dickens's Desk and Chair, and it's where he wrote some of his most famous works, including A Tale of Two Cities and Great Expectations. So the desk and chair was actually in his house in Gad's Hill Place in Kent. So he was actually writing on this desk up until he died in 1870. This specific desk and chair was also made famous by the Luke Fildes engraving called The Empty Chair, which he made following Dickens's death in June 1870. It was quite a sad image, kind of encompassing the loss of the author for the nation, summed up by this very empty chair. Today, however, I think the desk and chair is actually quite happy. It's situated where he wrote his earlier works, and it enables visitors who come in to actually stand and imagine him sat here writing at his desk, which I think is such a lovely image. And some of the items that we actually have on display here are things that he would have had on his desk when he was writing. So things like this wooden ruler here and a taper stand over here were both things that we know he had on his desk when he was writing. And some of the other pieces are really interesting. They're gifts that he would have been given from friends, and we've got a quill and ink here as well that we know belonged to him. So I think it's quite lovely. It gives the impression of him writing in the room and that he's just slipped out to go and see his friends.
So I'm just going to warn you, this week's film is absolutely mental. In 2015, Adzia King, known as Zola, published a 148-tweet-long Twitter thread that started with the words, "Y'all want to hear a story about why me and this bitch here fell out? It's kind of long, but full of suspense."
Hey, last month I went dancing at this cute spot in Florida where my roommate's girl made like 5 G's a night. Because of my
we just met yesterday and you're already trying to take hoe trips together?
Be ready by 2.
Hey, you want to hear a story about how me and this bitch fell out? It's kind of long, but it's full of suspense.
Hell yes. What came after it was a roller coaster story of a road trip involving pimps, pole dancers, guns, bags of money and some really quite nasty people that went crazy on Twitter and eventually led to a wild profile in Rolling Stone magazine that fleshed out what had become known on Twitter simply as #TheStory. That and the original thread are what the filmmaker Janixa Bravo and the writer Jeremy O. Harris eventually based this absolutely barking film on.
Is broke!
I loved it. If you don't spend much time on social media, then you may slightly struggle. But what really struck me, other than just the joy of watching the two leads, Taylor Page and Riley Keough, absolutely embodying their characters just so beautifully, was just how seamlessly and casually it nods to the fact that the story originated online. As we all know, attempts at doing digital on screen, on stage, or in any other medium pretty much, has historically been mostly absolutely mortifying, but Bravo and Harris make it look so easy. It's so funny and so shocking. It looks stunning, like a massive tin of Quality Street. Cousin Greg is in it, Succession fans, and every 5 minutes your jaw is dropping with astonishment, like, can this seriously be happening? King did admit in Rolling Stone to embellishing some of the wilder details, but only some of them. And honestly, who cares? Because my God, it makes a good movie. You have to see it in a cinema, so book your tickets now. It's out today.
When we leaving, be ready by 2.
That's all for this week. Thanks for watching Cultural Capital. If you've enjoyed it, do give us a like and subscribe on YouTube and share the show on social. We'll be back next week.